Welcome to another edition of Behind the Bars TV. Today we're taking a look at the top 10 worst prisons in the world. So I'm going to take you on a journey through some of the most notorious prisons that continue to haunt the world with their harsh conditions and grim reputations. Here we take a look at the dark side of these fearsome prisons. At number 1 is Black Dolphin Prison in Russia. Now, I'm sure a lot of you would have seen this documentary on YouTube. It is one of the most fearsome prisons in the world. Federal governmental institution penal colony of the Federal Penitentiary Service of Russia in Orenburg Oblast, commonly known as the Black Dolphin Prison and formerly known as NKVD Prison. It is a correctional facility in Orenburg Oblast, Russia, near its border with Kazakhstan. The prison is one of the oldest in Russia and one of the first in Orenburg Oblast to accept prisoners with life sentences. This unofficial name from a prisoner constructed sculpture depicting a black dolphin, which is set in front of the main entrance. Originally, Black Dolphin was a jail for those sentenced to life at hard labour since at least 1745. After the suppression of Pugachev rebellion in 1773, the prison was updated for the deportation and confinement of robbers. The prison houses approximately 700 of Russia's worst criminals, including child molesters, murderers, terrorists, cannibals and serial killers.
700 inmates sentenced to life. Between them, they've killed almost 4,000 people.
Inmates are kept isolated in cells that have a set of 3 steel doors. For 90 minutes a day, they exercise in a large cage. During this time, cells are searched for contraband or illegal items. They are forced to stand and not to rest or sit on their bunks from the time they wake until they go to sleep, roughly 16 hours. Prison guards place blindfolds on arriving inmates so they cannot map out the prison or plan escapes.
Here, that some of the country's worst maniacs, serial killers, terrorists and even cannibals are held. In this cell, a man who raped 44 minors and killed 5 children aged 7 to 11.
Black Dolphin prison officers have a unique form of escorting inmates. Prisoners are kept bent over at the waist. This escort control tactic allows for maximum control. Now, next up, prison number 2 is Committee Maximum Security Prison in Kenya. Is located in the agricultural district of Kiambu, originally named Committee Downs. During the 1980s and early 1990s, many political prisoners were held at Committee, including Hussein Onyango, Obama, Kenneth Matiba, Raila Odinga, and Jonah Anguka, and numerous others. Many executions have been carried out on Committee. Mau Mau rebel leader Dedan Kimathi was hanged by British colonial administration on February the 18th, 1957. No death penalties have been held in Kenya since, although capital punishment is not formally abolished. Kenya's prisons are infamous for poor conditions and inhumane treatment. Although the situation has improved slightly, there is still no reliable water supply, with over 200 prisoners hauling buckets of water around daily. The inmates working in the industry section are paid only 10 cents per day.
Facility that holds a population of at least 3,000 inmates. It is early morning and the inmates are already hard at work.
So next up is prison number 3, which is USP Terre Haute, Indiana. It was opened in 1940 and it is part of the Terre Haute Federal Correctional Complex. It consists of maximum security, medium security and low security units, nicknamed Guantanamo North. USP Terre Haute houses a special confinement unit for male federal inmates who have been sentenced to death, as well as the federal execution chamber. Terre Haute was one of the first federal prisons to emphasize rehabilitation by providing psychological and psychiatric treatment and allowing prisoners to talk during meals instead of eating in silence. It has also become one of the first federal prisons to implement educational programs. The ACLU accused Terre Haute in 2008 of having grossly inadequate conditions at its special confinement unit. It accused the prison of denying the prisoners medical care and mental health services. Federal executions at Terre Haute have been on pause since the US Attorney General Merrick Garland announced July the 1st, 2021, the Department of Justice would review its policy on capital punishment. This was after Donald Trump administration carried out 13 federal executions just before the end of Trump's term, including the execution of Lisa Montgomery by lethal injection on January the 12th, 2021. So prison number 4, San Quentin State Prison, USA. Formerly known as San Quentin State Prison, is a California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation state prison for men located north of San Francisco. Established in 1852 and opening in 1854, San Quentin is the oldest prison in California. It has a gas chamber, but since 1996, executions at the prison have been carried out by lethal injection.
From the yard to the classroom, the goal is to transform San Quentin from a maximum security prison to a one-of-a-kind rehabilitation center.
Though the prison has not performed any execution since 2006.
We're actually learning how to code websites, and this is one example of a website that I built over the course of the last couple of weeks.
Next up, prison number 5, which is Diyarbakir, located in the southeastern Turkey. Diyarbakir is one of the most inhumane prisons in the world, owing to rampant and systematic abuse of the prisoners. The prison is notorious for overcrowding, and prisoners are often subjected to various forms of torture. Mehdi Zana, the former mayor of Diyar, who spent over a decade in the prison, things were especially bad when Diyarbakir served as a military prison in the 1980s. Though the prison is now closed, its legacy remains a painful reminder, and that's why it deserves a spot in the worst prisons in the world. Number 6 is Mendoza Prison at Argentina. Was built in 1886 in the city of Mendoza, Argentina. With a population roughly 3 times its capacity, Mendoza Prison in Argentina is severely overcrowded. Many inmates are forced to sleep on the floor without mattresses. Amnesty International reported on the conditions back in 2005. To top it all off, there are no medical records for the prisoners. Prison number 7, Gladini Prison, Georgia. While fights among inmates are very common in many prisons, Galdani takes brutality to a whole new level. Instead of maintaining order, the guards themselves engage in torture, assaults, and even assaults on prisoners.
Stand up on your feet. Go to your feet.
On your feet.
Let's go. We don't got a minute. We've been playing for 3 days, Fisher. Stand up. Stand up.
On your feet. Put your feet up under you and stand up.
Leaving prisoners to suffer without proper treatment. Unspeakably unsanitary conditions contribute to the spread of disease, while severe overcrowding only intensifies the already worst situation. The prison represents the darkest depths of the prison system, where cruelty and abuse reign unchecked. It serves as a stark reminder of the urgent need for reform and justice within the global prison system. ADX Florence, a supermax facility in the USA, located in Colorado, and is known for holding some of the worst criminals in history in custody. therefore earning the reputation of being one of America's toughest prisons. And with a population of 439 inmates, it has the tightest security in the country. Inmates are kept in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day and are kept under surveillance 24/7. The facility opened in 1994 and is known as the Alcatraz of the Rockies. Former warden Robert Hood described the prison as a clean version of hell. Camp 14 Kacheon in North Korea. Kacheon Internment Camp is a labor camp in North Korea for political prisoners and descendants of alleged criminals. The official name for the camp is Kwon Lee-so. The camp was established around 1959 in central North Korea. Witnesses have reported that prisoners interned in the camp are required to work for long periods. Other reports describe prisoners being beaten and severely punished for minor infractions. Food rations are scant, consisting of salted cabbage and corn. Many prisoners resort to eating frogs, insects, rats, snakes, and even cannibalism in order to survive. Up at number 10, Gitarama Central Prison, Rwanda. Gitarama Central Prison, known for its involvement in the country's 1994 genocide. An African prison that has been described as hell on earth, as prisoners detail the horrific conditions they live in, including the smell of rotten flesh. Inmates at the Rwanda prison, some of the country's most violent criminals, including rapists, robbers, and murderers, lay inside the crowded walls. The prison has left deep scars on the collective memory of the Rwandan people. So there you have it, people, a glimpse into the darkest corners of the world's top 10 worst prisons in the world. These 10 prisons represent some of the harshest and most unforgiving places on earth. The stories within their walls remind us of the need for reform and compassion in our justice system. Thank you for watching this video and joining on this gripping journey through some of the world's worst prisons. Let me know in the comments, people, which prison do you think looks the scariest? Let me know, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for more eye-opening content, people. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for watching. Take care.